Hey boss, welcome back to Mocktails with Marina. I'm your host Marina, and today we're here to talk about why reflection is your secret weapon this December. Can you feel it? That year-end energy. December just hits different. It's this mix of like wrapping up loose ends while also feeling the pull to slow down, reflect, and maybe even soak it all in. And honestly, I think that's the real magic of this time of year. Today, I want to talk to you about why reflection is not just a luxury, but it is an absolute necessity, especially for us entrepreneurs and visionaries. So grab your favorite warm drink, cozy up, and let's have this conversation. You know, reflection gets overlooked in a world that's always pushing for more. There's this unspoken pressure to start sprinting into the new year before December is even up. But what if I told you that taking a step back and looking at where you've been could be the key to unlocking wherever you're trying to go? When we skip reflection, it's a lot like finishing a super long hike without ever stopping to admire the view along the way. We don't give ourselves credit, especially for the climb, and we miss the chance to learn from these obstacles that we've already conquered, right? So when you find yourself experiencing the same thing over and over and you're like, well, I'm working hard, I don't understand why I'm not getting out of these cycles. Sometimes it's because you literally just didn't stop to look and appreciate how far you've come. So it seems so corny and cheesy, but let me give you a real example, right? Let's say you're working so hard all the time that you're kind of a little bit cranky and you're always, when you're checking in with customers, instead of celebrating them, talking to them, whatever, you're actually venting to them about how difficult things are. Or even if it's not just you, maybe it's your staff, or maybe it's just a pain point that people can feel that people have to cheer you on. Like, I'm not saying it's not good to be real, but what I'm saying is if you find yourself constantly in a season of constant struggle and constant feeling like you're not making progress, that's where you have to stop and reflect and be like, okay, always start with gratitude. I can't stress this enough, because if you do the spiral of, okay, when I look back, these are the mistakes I made. Oh my God, look at how much farther behind I am now. I'll never catch up. Oh my goodness. That's horrible. That feels horrible to even say. I'm so sorry for putting that on your ears, but I'm here to tell you that there is another way, right? So when you are thinking about the past, you start with gratitude. Where did things go right? Who are the people you got to help? One of my favorite things to do is I take our client list and I put it into our AI, and I ask it to give me all the information about the extent of the impact we made. So this isn't even it just analyzing KPIs, sales data, nothing like that, but purely impact. Where are these people? How many states? How many different businesses have we helped in different states within the United States? How many different countries have we been able to help? How many new brands have emerged that we've been able to connect with distributors, bottle shops, or bars, or online vendors? What is the extent of, how many lines can we say that we've helped draw in the industry in order for more opportunity to strike for others, right? So when we start to look at that, we start to realize the impact of oh my goodness, this is really how much work we've done. From there, it's easier to start planning ahead, because it's okay, well, I already know I've hit 38 states. I already know I've hit 286 businesses in the heart, right? I know that these things have happened, so moving forward, it's easier for us to project what's next. Whereas if I didn't even take that moment to look, reflect, know those numbers, or do anything to celebrate their wins, celebrate our wins, celebrate where this industry is going, and giving this free content to be able to really revel in it, then I would be missing a huge opportunity, right? To not only connect with people to say, hey, anybody who thought this industry was small, well, I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, there's plenty of room for all the things. Small industry is just, first off, not a reality, but even if it was, there's literally an infinite amount of money out there, like, to be made, and an opportunity. It's all about being able to be in sync with what's going on in your business, so that once you understand what you already have, you can be thankful and grateful for it. You know how to order for it. Let me put it in perspective. If I needed to run a client dinner, and we had to invite every business we've ever worked with, right? I need to make sure I ordered enough food for us to all eat, right? So in that analogy, that means that I need to make a certain amount and invest a certain amount in that party in order for everyone to be taken care of. We need to invest a certain amount in our business in order to take care of our current clientele, who take care of us because they're engaging with our products and services, right? So it's a relationship we want to keep alive, and we want to be able to build on that to be able to help more people, right? Make a bigger impact. So knowing that, okay, well, now we know for next year we're going to have to, make a table for at least 500, right? It's easy for us to project that. But if we were stuck in the weeds and we weren't looking at those things, what would we be saying? We'd be like, oh, well, right now I only see the few people in front of us that we're specifically talking to in this very moment, because everyone else is already engaging in our products and services, like, in other ways, right? But, like, when you're stuck in the day-to-day, you are one person, you are sending a certain amount of emails, you are only one touch point for all of the things happening in your business. Therefore, you go blind to what's actually happening. You are unable to see your successes because there's so many touch points in your business that there's no way that you could possibly touch them all in a day and understand everything, right? So the only way to really get a huge view of what even happened this year, right, is to sit down and reflect and take that time before you, this is before you plan 2025. If you're already planning 2025 and you have not given yourself a performance review for this year, please keep listening to this episode, because this is you are the reason I made this episode. I really want to make sure we're taking care of you, because, my friend, I have worked for people and I've worked with people who never took the time to slow down, and they had something so beautiful, and then they burned it down to the ground themselves with their own habits and behaviors, because they didn't take that time to reflect. They didn't appreciate what successes were in front of them, and therefore they drove it all away, and now they're stuck in constant feedback loops of scarcity, and I do not want that to be you. So reflection is where the growth happens, right? It's the pause between the notes that makes the music meaningful. It's the moment you look at your wins and challenges and you ask, what is this teaching me? What is my takeaway from this chapter of the story? When we don't reflect, we risk repeating the same patterns. We burn out trying to fix problems that we never took the time to understand. Reflection isn't just about celebrating, it's about getting honest with yourself, right? It's asking what worked really well this year, and why did it work really well? What didn't work, and how can I adjust moving forward? How did I show up as the CEO of my vision? Even if you're an owner and you are looking to outsource even all of your executive team so you can just kind of be totally hands-off, you are still the CEO of your vision, right? And in order to properly steward that, we need to ask ourselves some questions. Without this process, we can feel like we're running on a treadmill, busy but not necessarily going anywhere. And listen, I have been there. I've had years where I just moved on to the next thing without taking stock. And you know what? I left lessons on the table. I didn't honor the season that I was in, and it caught up with me. I've been there. So we all get caught up in stuff. I think this happens especially, the thing that I'm thinking about especially is when I was in college. You don't know the extent of certain experiences you have if you are so busy in your every single moment, from the eyes open to eyes closed, right? So reflection just it's not a time waster, right? it is the fuel that powers your next chapter. Like, you are doing alchemy with your time here and creating something beyond what you could possibly imagine, because in order to build on your imagination, you need to turn around and pick up those building blocks, right? So in order to pick up those building blocks, what does that literally, like, what does that mean? Can't just be talking metaphorical here. Well, I want you to honor where you're at right now. That's what picking up the blocks looks like. So this is the part of the year where I want you to lean into the rhythm of the season. December is not about hustling harder. Okay, I know, especially as business owners, we think it is, oh, holiday season, we need to work super hard so that we make all this money. No, it's about embracing the stillness and honoring the journey you've been on. Even if you just started in September, even if you started in January and you want to end the year super strong, there is a way to continue to be in flow with your sales and continue to build your sales while still being able to reflect and sit in that stillness of this part of the year, right? The cool part about December to me is the fact that it is the month of the shortest day of the year, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And with that, you know, the shortest day of the year has the greatest amount of darkness. And if we're taking our time to sit in that darkness and we are just casting a light back to see, it allows us to really focus and see things for what it is, right? And the more we can see the light where it is, the more the whole room lights up in and of itself, right? And that's what kind of jump starts us into January feeling inspired rather than like, oh my God, I need to heal from the burnout of last year. Let me start in March, right? Like, we don't want you to feel that way. We want you to honor where you're at right now so that it can be the fuel that pulls you into the next month, right? So January is for jumpstarting. December is for wrapping it up and soaking it all in. So just think about it. What did this year teach you about yourself? What did it teach you about your business? What did it teach you about what really matters? So I want you to lean into that reflection. So if you're feeling that pull to dig a little deeper, but you're still not sure exactly where to start, I've got something for you. I'm hosting a live masterclass called CEO Self-Audit, the year-end CEO review. It's going to be happening live on December 30th, and it's all about giving yourself the performance review that you deserve. Not in a self-critical way, but in a way that really, truly empowers you. So we're going to be walking through your wins. We're going to unpack the lessons. We're going to map out a very clear, intentional plan for 2025. And I'm not saying all of your business plans are all the things, but what kind of plan we can create for you to not only create a lifestyle of richness, right? And what I mean by this is that you feel the impact, you feel the joy, you can feel and celebrate the wins and remain curious and inspired by things that come up that you need to figure out in order to move forward, right? So this is not about perfection, it's just about clarity. And the best part is this is only going to be $37 because I want this to be as accessible for anyone as possible that is ready to reflect with intention. Now, this is going to be a 2-hour live masterclass. And even if you can't make it live, you can always watch the recordings. And there is going to be a bonus piece of content there where I'll be announcing that soon. So you can go ahead and check out the URL that is in the description of this video, or send me a message, hello@marinamars.com, if you're not tuning into this live as I'm kind of putting it out in the beginning of December here. Because even if you do happen to stumble upon this episode and it's March or a different time of year where you're like, you know what? I need to get more in the habit of reflection. Like, this will work no matter what time of year it is. Like, this whole thing, it's always a good time to reflect if you are feeling like you are kind of treading water, or if you are about to start something big and new and you want to be like, okay, do I have like room for this? Do I have the ability? Do I have the space for it? Like, if you are in any of those situations, or it's simply just the end of the year, this is for you. So the recording will be just as relevant, I'm going to be providing a template that you will be able to download and work right alongside me. And you're also going to be able to have skills and tools that stay with you for a lifetime. So this is huge. And if this speaks to you, I would love it if you would join me. It's going to be a very supportive space to end the year with intention and start the next one with focus. So again, you can take a look at the description of this episode in order to get that information. Now, as we move through this last month of the year, again, if you're hearing this live, my challenge to you is so simple. Okay, we're at the closing of a chapter. So make time to reflect. Let yourself feel the weight of this year. Not just the hard parts, but the beautiful parts too. Celebrate how far you've come, even if it's not as far as you planned. And give yourself permission to dream about where you are going. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I know this is a little bit shorter of an episode, but short and sweet, sometimes straight to the point is what we need. Now, spend this extra time reflecting. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, anything at all, feel free to send me an email, hello@marinamaris.com. I got you, as always. If you need anything, just let me know.